Okay. Member Wu?
Here, present.
Member Garcia? Member Villa? Here. Member Rhodes?
Present.
Member Phillips? And Member Pritchett, I am here. All right, we have a quorum. So we have 8 public comments for closed session.
Yes, that's correct.
Here, you already got started. I took roll. Yep. I don't know if you need to write it down.
Our first public speaker is Anna Molander.
Good evening. My name is Anna Molander, and I have 3 Sac City Unified children. 2 are unvaccinated, and 1 is vaccinated. I want to underscore the written comment submitted today regarding independent study. At a minimum, children should be guaranteed a return to their home school. The district could have sought a waiver and offered a true online program, but did not. This independent study option is the worst of all possibilities, so it is incumbent on you to help families forced into that program. I'd also like to encourage the board to direct its labor contract negotiation staff to come up with a reasonable position for bargaining. The recent proposal is so far from anything we currently know that it can only be seen as a bad faith attempt at forcing a contract and forcing district employees to strike. The gamesmanship needs to stop. Parents are tired of the nonsense. We want a contract signed by August 15th. That means much harder work by your team to get us there. And finally, I want to remind the board that we remain out of compliance with IDEA and are at risk of losing money from CDE. We need to have a public discussion of these issues before CDE decides we have been non-compliant for too long and takes our funding. I shouldn't have to ask. Our kids deserve a high-quality special education system. The threat of losing funding shouldn't be driving this issue. It's time to do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Our next speaker is April Ibarra.
Go ahead, April.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
That's
So
okay.
my name is, good evening, board members. My name is April Ibarra. I'm a returning parent in the district. My concern tonight is a continued failure from the SUSD to have Superintendent Aguilar and the school board actually meet with SETA and listen to the teachers and families that you all serve. The proposal from the district that I got to get a sneak peek of was just crazy. It's ridiculous. I don't understand what's going on because I've been out of the loop for a minute. But what I want to know is why you, as an appointed board, approved another raise for Aguilar, and yet there's so many proposed cuts to our already overworked and underpaid teachers. Aguilar said that the system is an unequitable system and you have to act as a disruptor. So I'm asking you to please disrupt this nonsense. Please propose for our district to stop overpaying superintendents, starting with Aguilar. Our kids and teachers need you to advocate for them, not advocate against them, not advocate for continued nonsense, not advocate for political gain. We need you as a board to come together and advocate for the underserved students and teachers. You hold the ability to create change. Aguilar said what he did not want from our community was to hear us say that that external forces were limiting factors for our student success. But at this time, Aguilar is our current external force. And he will continue to be that barrier until he and other board members sit with our teachers and actually come to bargain and come to an agreement and not treat our teachers like they're the bottom of a corporate business. We are better than this. Let's actually start focusing on putting our kids first and not just saying that that's what we want to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Next speaker is Beth Hearn.
Hi, thank you. First thing, it's important for you to understand that we as parents know that when you say that you don't have the ability to provide us with distance learning, we know that there are other options available to us. We know that other schools have a virtual academy. So there's no reason that parents of children who are too young to get the vaccine should be compelled to send them into classrooms for full days with no social distancing. The district has failed to state outright if students are going to lose their spots at their school if they enroll in independent study. It's coercive to use our children's access to their schools to leverage to force parents to send their kids back into classrooms. Other districts are giving their students return rights to their schools, and our children deserve to have the same thing. You need to know that if you fail to meet the needs of the families you serve, they will go elsewhere. There are other districts and online charter schools willing to serve our families. When we opened in the spring, almost half the students stayed home. With the Delta variant spreading and your lack of mitigation measures, what makes you think that they're enthusiastic to return to school now? Half the schools in the district are rated below average, and you've already pushed out a lot of good teachers. Those of us who've gotten our children into their schools through the open enrollment lottery did so because our home schools are performing poorly. What makes you think that the services you're offering to our kids are so valuable that it's worth risking their safety? Children's hospitals around the country are filling up with sick kids, and it's time to wake up to the reality of this pandemic and make adjustments now, or it's going to be our kids getting sick due to your negligence. I understand that the president and the governor want schools open, but you're the ones with the power and the responsibility to make sure that those schools are safe, and we need you to make that a priority. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hum. Next comment or next speaker?
Our next speaker is Sid Johori.
Hi, my name is Julie Ketchel, and I'm taking Sid's spot tonight. She was unable to come. Good evening, Superintendent Aguilar and board members. My name is Julie Ketchel. I'm parent of twin high school students in the district, and also I've been a teacher in the district for 22 years. My comment addresses the board, who must be terribly ill-informed by Mr. Aguilar or bullied during their vote with regard to extension of his contract and providing a raise to the superintendent. The superintendent who stirs trouble with the very teachers he is supposed to lead. The superintendent who spouts tenets like having a pro-student lens and a pro-collaboration commitment. A leader who actually walked that talk would not be in disputes with labor, nor would he suggest a labor contract as heinous as the one he sent to the table. Yes, sent, because he does not participate in bargaining. As board members, you have the duty to be the checks and balances of the decisions made by the superintendent who works for you. Also troubling is the fact that our district is out of compliance with the IDEA and has been, for the past 3 years, known as a district who needs intervention with regard to special ed. The CDE has threatened to withhold our special ed funding for non-compliance, all under Aguilar's watch. These are not the issues of a capable, competent superintendent. When can parents and teachers expect these issues to be addressed publicly by the very board who is elected by us? Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker?
Yes, our next speaker is David Fisher.
Hello, I'm David Fisher, President of the Sacramento City Teachers Association. I want to talk briefly tonight about options for families and the debates that goes on at the school board. Starting last spring and through this year, it seems like the debate is totally devoid of context. I think everyone agrees that in-person learning out of context or without any other factors, of course, is better for students. That's not the debate. We live, as you know, in absolutely terrifying times for many people. We're at 630,000 deaths. The Delta variant is out of control. Our 12-year-old and under cannot be vaccinated, and students and families desperately want an option that will allow them to stay connected to their home school. And acting like when the debate's going on that there's nothing out there other than a debate between virtual learning or in-person learning is disingenuous. Our families deserve the options that some other districts are giving. I know that Davis is heavily recruiting on Facebook and recruiting our own students. And from what I understand from just coming out of bargaining, that their district is now proposing some sort of virtual learning that will still be tied to Cap City. However, our understanding is now they want to get rid of the old version that the students that were already at Cap City, where it was working for them. It seems to be an overreaction. Look, we should have been doing this months ago when we suggested it, but there's still time to make it work. We need to have options for students that keep them at their home school and keep them in our district. Let's do the right thing. Thank you.
Agreed. Let's do the right thing. All right, next speaker.
The next speaker is Jose Navarro.
Good evening, Mr. Navarro. Go right ahead.
Hello, can you guys hear me? Yeah, okay.
Yes, we can.
So good evening. My name is Jose Navarro. I'm a community member in District 3. So I'm speaking today to question why board members haven't gotten involved in the negotiation process as observers. There's nothing that prevents you guys from observing negotiations if only 2 of you show up for a negotiation session. I have no idea who's counseling you guys not to attend or the reasons for doing so. You may want to question why that is. You guys just approved the positive evaluation of the superintendent after certificated and classified staff voted no confidence. The current negotiation team for the district doesn't appear to be interested in negotiating at the direction of the superintendent. And there's nothing that encourages the superintendent to negotiate, because blaming the union for failures to negotiate has been accepted by you and by the 15 or so loud parents you listen to. If you're interested in serving the students and getting a contract finished before a strike, you guys need to observe with your own eyes what's happening. Thank you very much.
Next speaker.
Our final speaker is Mo Kashmiri.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Mo Kashmiri, I think y'all know what I'm going to say, which is that we need to be collaborating with our staff instead of fighting against them. The recent proposals that they've been given are beyond insane and do nothing except pushing everybody into a strike. That's the last thing we need in all this turmoil, is to end up in a strike because the board isn't getting involved in making sure that a reasonable deal is come to. We need to recruit and retain the best teachers, especially during this time, and we're going to be uncompetitive with other districts with the crap that's being offered. Our staff should not be paid less. They should not have to pay more for healthcare. If anything, we should be increasing their pay and and trying to work towards making sure that we have a competitive wage and benefit scale. And that means increasing it, not decreasing it. At the last meeting, I think 2 meetings ago, I suggested that we needed to spend more time looking at a virtual academy and figure out options for the fall, instead of rushing people back into school. And I was told that, you know what, we can chew gum and speak at the same, we can talk and chew gum at the same time. Apparently that's not the case. I think this is a big district and we need to be focused on looking ahead at what the challenges are. And the biggest challenge to this district is going to be labor drama. We need labor peace. We need cooperation instead of conflict. And that starts with you, board. And if you're not getting the results at the table that you need, then we expect you to show up and help make it happen. So we'll be watching, and we need the board to step up and make sure that we're moving this district in a positive direction instead of the negative direction. Bye.
Thank you. That's the final comment, Ms. Marty.
Yes, that was the final comment.
All right, with that, we'll move to closed.
Recording in progress.
Calling this meeting back to order of the Sacramento City Unified School District Board of Education. Before we adjourn, any announcements out of closed session?
Good evening, President Pritchett. No announcements out of closed session.
All right. With that, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second? All right. All in favor, say aye. All right. Good night. See you in a week.